He bought them a luxury car, paid off their debts, gave up his life to keep theirs afloat. But when his mother called him a fool in front of 100 guests, everything snapped. He canceled every payment, cut every tie, and watched the chaos unfold. But the voicemails didn't stop at begging. They tried guilt. They tried sabotage. Then came the GoFundMe scam, and that's when he went nuclear. What happens next? You won't believe how far they were willing to go, or how brutally he ended it. I bought my folks a high-end car and wiped out all their debt. But at my mom's retirement party, she looked around with a big smile and said, "We raised a fool who thinks he's somebody just because he picks up the tab." So I stopped paying. And that's when the missed calls started rolling in, 114 of them. See, I was always that guy, the one who never says no. Need help covering rent this month? Sure thing. Got a bill you can't handle? I've got it. I mean, what kind of son lets his parents struggle, right? That was always my thinking. For years, I've been the one holding everything together financially. It started off small, covering the occasional bill, tossing them a few bucks when things were tight. But little by little, I ended up footing the bill for everything. The house payment, car loans, my mom's medical treatments, even my dad's golf club fees. And it wasn't just about money. They took whatever I could give. I'm a corporate lawyer, one of the top guys at my firm. I work 70 hours a week, hammering out multimillion-dollar deals, making sure my clients stay out of courtrooms. I don't have a wife, no kids, no vacations, no downtime, just work. And my family milked that for everything it was worth. My sister Chloe, she'd hit me up anytime she needed help with rent or wanted the latest phone. My cousin Travis, he ran this struggling construction business and I handled all his legal stuff for free. Contracts, disputes, lawsuits, you name it. Even my parents leaned on me for every little thing. I drew up their wills, negotiated their insurance policies, and got my dad out of hot water when he rear-ended someone. So when my mom hit retirement age, I wanted her to feel secure. I cleared the mortgage, paid off their debt, and even surprised them with a brand new luxury car. Something my dad had always dreamed of but never could afford. I really thought just this once they'd be proud of me, that maybe I'd be more than just their personal ATM. Turns out I was wrong. I heard something I was never supposed to hear. My mom's retirement bash was huge, fancy venue, live band, over 100 guests. Family, friends, old coworkers. I organized everything, the food, the place, even put together a slideshow of her career highlights. At one point, I stepped out to take a client call. When I came back in, I caught my mom's voice drifting from the hallway near the restrooms. I wasn't trying to listen in, but then I heard my name. Derek actually thinks he's important just because he pays for everything. I froze in place. Well, you did say he's painfully naive. Aunt Margaret laughed. My mom let out this dramatic sigh. Of course he is. We raised a fool who thinks his money makes him special. And they all laughed, like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like they were chatting about the weather. At least he's useful, my dad chuckled. He brings in the cash. And free legal work, Travis added with a smirk. Not the worst kind of fool to have in the family. I stood there, completely stunned. A fool. That's all I was to them. Not a son. Not a brother. Not family. Just some chump willing to fork over his money and time without a second thought. And something inside me snapped right then and there. The one move they never saw coming. I walked back into that banquet hall, my chest tight, my thoughts racing. The party hadn't missed a beat. Everyone still laughing, drinking, having a great time. But for me, everything had changed. I made a beeline for my table, grabbed my phone, and right there in plain sight, I opened up my banking app. "What are you doing?" Chloe asked. Brows knitted. I went down the list and canceled every auto payment linked to their accounts. Mortgage? Gone. Utilities? Gone. Car loans? Canceled. Insurance? Done. All finished, I said, slipping my phone back into my pocket. My dad set his drink down. "What do you mean, finished?" I took a breath. "It means you're on your own now." My mom's smile disappeared instantly. "Derek, don't be ridiculous," she snapped. "Ridiculous?" I let out a dry chuckle. No, this is way past due. You think I'm naive for paying your bills? Fine. Let's see how it feels when you have to pay them yourselves. The whole room went quiet. Derek, come on, you're not serious, Aunt Margaret said, forcing a laugh. Oh, I'm dead serious. I turned to Travis. And if you need legal advice, better hire someone. I'm out. Travis clenched his jaw. You're really doing this? Over a joke. I looked him straight in the eye. No. I'm doing this because I finally see all of you for what you really are. Chloe rolled her eyes. Oh my God, grow up. You're acting like a child. No, I said coolly. I'm acting like a lawyer who just terminated a bad contract. And with that, I turned and walked out. Not a single one of them tried to stop me. For the first 2 days, it was radio silence. Then the phone started blowing up. First, it was Mom. Derek, sweetie, you forgot to send the electricity payment. Can you take care of that today? Ignored. Then Dad. Son, this is serious. If we don't pay the insurance. Ignored. Then Chloe. You're really screwing over all of us over one stupid comment? Seriously? Grow up. Ignored. By the end of the week, I had 42 missed calls. By the end of the month, the number hit 117. And that's when things started to really spiral. At first, I figured they'd simmer down. Maybe even take a moment to reflect. Nope. I was wrong again. The quiet didn't last. After call number 105, they shifted tactics. Cue the guilt trips. Mom, Derek, we're your family. Families don't do this to each other. Dad, your mother's not sleeping. She's so stressed. Do you even care? Chloe, wow. So you're just gonna abandon us? Like we're nothing. I didn't say a word. Then the passive-aggressive Facebook post started. Chloe wrote, some people only help others so they can throw it back in their face later. Real love doesn't come with conditions. I actually laughed. Real love? I'd been covering her expenses for years without ever asking for a thing. But the moment I stopped, suddenly I was the villain. Then came the desperation. Mom, Derek, they cut the electricity today. We don't have power. That one almost broke me. Almost. But then I remembered. I'd been paying that bill for years. Every time I tried to talk to them about budgeting, about maybe planning things out a little better, my mom would just wave me off. Oh, don't stress, sweetheart. We'll figure it out, she'd say with a smile. Well, now's the perfect time to figure it out. The surprise visit. About a week later, they showed up at my office without so much as a heads up. I was knee-deep in case files when my assistant buzzed through. Derek, your family's here. No appointment, but they say it's urgent. I let out a heavy sigh and rubbed my forehead. Honestly, I should have seen this coming. Send them to the conference room, I said, closing my laptop. I walked in to find all three of them, Mom, Dad, and Chloe, sitting stiffly around the table, faces tight with frustration. Derek, Mom began, this has gone on long enough. You've made your point. She gave me that look like we were all just being silly and needed to go back to normal. Let's be reasonable now and fix this. Fix what exactly? I asked, leaning casually against the edge of the table. The bills, Derek, she snapped. We're behind on everything: mortgage, car, insurance. We're drowning. Yeah? Not my concern anymore, I said, flat and firm. Not your... My dad started, shaking his head. Son, you can't just cut us off like this. We're family. I can. And I already did. Chloe folded her arms and narrowed her eyes. So what now? You just want us to suffer? You mean like I did? I fired back. Grinding through 70-hour weeks to keep everything afloat, while you all sat around and joked about how stupid I was? She rolled her eyes. It was just a joke, Derek. You're blowing this way out of proportion. I stepped closer, planted my hands on the table, and looked each of them dead in the eye. Let me spell it out for you. You laughed at me. You mocked me. You used me. And now that I finally said no, I'm suddenly the bad guy? That's not how this works. Mom turned on her soft, wounded voice, the one she used when she wanted to reel me back in. Sweetheart, we never meant to hurt you. We just thought. You liked helping. Liked it. I let out a bitter laugh. Did you ever ask me if I wanted to? Ever give me a choice? Silence. That told me everything I needed to know. Then Dad tried to switch tactics. All right, Derek, let's strike a deal. Maybe you don't need to cover everything anymore. Just the major stuff, the house, the car, the insurance. That's fair. Isn't it? I smiled. Sure. I'll make a deal. For a second, I saw a flicker of hope light up on their faces. That didn't last long. I'll start paying again. If you all sign a legal contract promising to repay every cent. With interest. Their expressions turned to stone. The relief vanished. Derek, don't be ridiculous, Mom snapped. Oh, I'm not being ridiculous. I'm being precise. I reached into my bag, pulled out a blank contract, and placed it on the table. Since you're all so fond of using my legal expertise, let's put it to good use. Chloe stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You actually expect us to pay you back? Yep. You never asked for anything before, she muttered. And you never said thank you, I shot back. Dad slammed his hand down on the table. You're acting like you're not even our son. I didn't flinch. You already made it clear I was only ever tolerated because I footed the bills. So now let's see if I'm still welcome when my wallet's closed. They were quiet. No arguments. Just stares. Mom glanced at the contract, then at me. You're serious. Dead serious. She pushed her chair back and stood up. Fine. Keep your money. But don't come crawling back when you realize you still need your family. I won't, I said without a second's hesitation. Chloe stormed out first. Then my dad followed. Finally, my mom. I leaned back in the chair, exhaled slow, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I smiled. I felt free. The final blow. A month passed. The calls started to die down. The guilt-tripping texts slowed to a crawl. Then one afternoon, I got a message from Chloe. We're selling the house. Mom and Dad can't afford it without your help. I stared at it for a while. Then typed. Not my problem. Good luck. And for the first time in my life, I hit send and didn't feel 1 ounce of guilt. After they stormed out of my office, I really thought they'd finally back off. I was wrong again. At first, they tried tugging on my emotions. Aunt Margaret sent me this long, preachy text about how family sticks together and how I was turning my back on the people who raised me. Dad left a voicemail with that disappointed father tone. I thought I raised a better man than this, Derek. You're letting us all down. Chloe? She just sent one line. You're pathetic. I ignored them all. Then they escalated. One evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Derek, hey, it's Tom. Tom. My parents' neighbor. Decent guy. We never talked much. Hey Tom. Everything all right? Yeah, just. I saw your folks the other day. They're not doing so great, man. Your mom's been crying a lot, your dad looks like he hasn't eaten in days. They're struggling, Derek. I clenched my jaw. They really need you, man. I know there's been some drama, but they're still your family. You're just gonna let them lose the house. Ah, there it was. Guilt now outsourced to the neighbors. Tom, I said, did they happen to tell you why they're in this mess? Silence. Then, not really. Did they mention that I was the one paying all their bills for years? That I covered their mortgage, their debts, their cars? More silence. Didn't think so, I said coldly. Tom, I respect you. But don't call me about this again. It's not my burden anymore. I hung up. The setup. A week later, I got a call from HR. Derek, we need to talk. Something's come up. My stomach dropped. What kind of something? A woman called this morning. Said she was your mother. She sounded really upset. Claimed you were having a mental breakdown. Said she was worried you might not be fit to work right now. I blinked. She said what? She even suggested maybe we should encourage you to take some time off. That your workload might be pushing you too hard. And just like that, I saw red. This wasn't just manipulation anymore. This was sabotage. You realize that's complete nonsense, right? Of course. But she made it sound like a serious mental health concern. We had to follow up. I'm fine, I said through clenched teeth. But if she ever calls again, tell her to stay the hell out of my job. I hung up seething. They were pushing every button they could find. And something told me they weren't done yet. The final scam. 2 weeks later, while I was deep into work, I got a voicemail from Chloe. Urgent. Derek, please. I know you hate us right now, but this is serious. It's about Dad. He's in trouble. Big trouble. Please, just call me back. I didn't believe it, not for a second. But I'd be lying if I said there wasn't still a tiny piece of me that cared, a part that hadn't completely shut off yet. So, against my better judgment, I called her back. She picked up on the first ring. "Derek?" Her voice trembled like she'd been crying for hours. "What's going on?" "It's Dad," she said. "He got mixed up in something bad." "What kind of bad?" "He borrowed money from some dangerous people. Loan sharks. They're threatening to take the house." I sighed and pinched the bridge of my nose. "Chloe, come on. Cut the crap." "I'm serious," she snapped. "He didn't tell us until it was too late. They already came to the house, Derek. They said if we don't pay them 50 grand by the end of the month, they're taking legal action." That gave me pause, but not because I believed her. My gut told me this was another setup. My brain confirmed it. See, as a lawyer, I know exactly how real loan sharks operate. They don't serve court papers. They don't file lawsuits. They don't play by legal rules, they play dirty. With fists, threats, and back alley muscle. And 50,000? That just so happened to be the exact amount I used to send my parents every year to keep their bills covered. Too convenient. Too neat. "Put Dad on the phone," I said flatly. "He's, not home right now," she stammered. "Chloe, I can't. He's too stressed to talk." And there it was. The confirmation I needed. "Nice try," I said coldly. "But you're not even good at this. You're a terrible liar." "Derek, I swear, "Oh yeah?" I cut her off. "Then tell me the name of this mysterious lender." She paused. First Capital Lending." I actually laughed. "That's a legitimate bank, Chloe. Not exactly what comes to mind when I think loan shark." Silence on the other end. "You just made that up, didn't you?" Don't bother finishing," I said. "This is the sloppiest scam you've pulled yet. At least put some effort into it next time. Derek, please. Good luck paying off that debt. Without me." And I hung up. That was the last straw. That call slammed the door shut. I blocked their numbers. Changed my email. Even told my firm's receptionist to reject any calls that came from anyone in my family. And you know what? I finally felt like I could breathe. A week later, I got one last message from my mom. "We're selling the house. Hope you're happy." I stared at it for a second, then typed back, "I am." And I never looked back. Cutting them off should have been the end of it. But people like my family? They don't quit when the money stops. For a while, it was quiet. Not a single call or message. A few weeks passed since the fake loan shark stunt, and I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd finally accepted that I wasn't coming back. Then my phone buzzed. "Uncle Samuel." I paused before answering. Samuel wasn't close. Distant relative from another state. We spoke maybe once a year. "Derek, hey. It's Samuel." "Hey, Uncle Samuel. Everything all right? Look, I don't want to stick my nose where it doesn't belong, but your mom called me. Said you abandoned the family." I rolled my eyes. Did she also mention I paid for everything for years? She may have conveniently left that part out. Of course she did. "Derek, I'm not trying to pick sides. But they're not doing great. The house is going. Your dad's a wreck. Chloe's barely keeping it together. That's not my responsibility anymore, Samuel." He sighed. "I get it, kid. I do. But family's family, you know?" I clenched my jaw. "Is that what she told you? That I just walked away for no reason?" There was a pause. "Let me save you the trouble," I continued. "I paid off their debt, cleared their mortgage, bought them a luxury car. And do you know what I got in return?" "What?" They laughed at me. Behind my back. Called me a fool. Said the only reason they tolerated me was because I paid for everything. Another silence. Then Samuel cleared his throat. "Yeah, she definitely didn't mention that part. So no, Samuel. I'm not paying another dime." "Fair enough, kid. I won't bother you again." Click. One by one, the allies disappeared. Then the real fallout began. 2 months passed. The house? Foreclosed. The luxury car? Gone, repossessed. Chloe's business? Circling the drain. They were finally facing real consequences. And then, right when I thought they couldn't stoop any lower, I got an email. The subject line? "Are you really going to do this to your own mother?" I almost deleted it without opening. But curiosity got the better of me. And when I clicked on it, my stomach dropped. It was a GoFundMe link. Title, "Desperate Mother on the Verge of Homelessness After Heartless Son Betrays Family." I read the page. My hands shook. After years of sacrificing everything for her children, our beloved mother has been abandoned by the one person she trusted most. Her son, a wealthy attorney, cut her off, leaving her with nothing. Now she's facing homelessness. Please help. Right underneath were old family photos. Pictures of me smiling, looking like the perfect son, the one they were now weaponizing to milk strangers for sympathy. At the bottom? $13,000 raised out of a $60,000 goal. I clenched my fists. They weren't just lying to me anymore. They were scamming complete strangers. And the worst part? It was working. Time to play my last card. I could have ignored it. Let them wallow in their little circus of lies. But they made one fatal mistake. They used my full name. That was defamation. I forwarded the GoFundMe link to a buddy of mine in cybersecurity. Told him I needed the source. A few hours later, he pinged me. It's Chloe's laptop. I smirked. Gotcha. Then I dialed my lawyer. Hey Victor, you still take defamation cases? Always. Who we going after? My family. I sent him everything, the screenshots, the fundraiser link, even proof that nearly 10 grand had already been pulled from the account. And surprise, I added. That money? It's not going to my mom. Chloe's been cashing it out. Victor let out a low whistle. Man, that's cold. Even for family. They wanted a war, I said. Now they've got one. You want to start with a cease and desist? Or go nuclear? I didn't even hesitate. No mercy. The final collapse. Within 2 days, the fundraiser was shut down. Every cent? Frozen. And right on cue, Chloe called screaming. He's in trouble. Real trouble. Please, just call me back. I didn't buy it, not for a second. But I'll admit, there was still a sliver of me that hadn't completely gone numb. That little part that still cared enough to wonder. So, even though everything screamed, don't do it, I called her. She answered instantly. Derek? Her voice was shaky, like she'd either been crying for hours or wanted me to think she had. What's going on? I asked, already bracing myself. It's Dad, she said, voice trembling. He got involved in something bad. What kind of bad? He borrowed money, she said. From the wrong people. Loan sharks. They're threatening to take the house if we don't pay them back. I let out a deep sigh and pressed my fingers to the bridge of my nose. Chloe, seriously? Knock it off. I'm telling the truth, she snapped. He kept it from us until it was too late. They already showed up at the house, Derek. They said if we don't come up with 50 grand by the end of the month, they'll take legal action. That made me pause, but only because of how rehearsed it sounded. My gut was screaming that this was just another performance. And my legal brain? Already spotted the holes. I'm a lawyer. I know exactly how real loan sharks handle things, and filing lawsuits isn't part of their process. They don't use lawyers. They use threats. They use intimidation. Violence if necessary. But they sure as hell don't write demand letters. And 50 grand? That just so happened to be the same amount I used to send my parents every year to cover their expenses. Too perfect. Too scripted. Put Dad on the line, I said, my voice cold. He's not home right now, she said a little too quickly. Chloe. I can't, okay? He's too stressed to talk. Yeah, okay. That told me everything I needed to know. Nice try, I said flatly. But come on. At least try to make it believable next time. You're not even good at lying. Derek, I swear to you. Oh yeah? Then tell me the name of the scary loan shark you're talking about. There was a pause. First Capital Lending. I couldn't help it. I laughed. That's a real financial institution, Chloe. That's not some underground loan shark operation. Silence. You just pulled that out of thin air, didn't you? Don't even finish. Honestly, this is the sloppiest con you've run yet. Put some effort into it next time. Derek, please. Yeah, good luck paying off that imaginary debt. Without me. And I ended the call. That was it. The final straw. That conversation shut the door for good. I blocked every number tied to them. Changed my email. Told the receptionist at my firm to screen every call and send anything from my family straight to voicemail. And you know what? I finally exhaled. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe again. A week later, I got one final text from my mom. We're selling the house. Hope you're happy. I stared at the message, let it sit for a beat, and then typed back. I am. And that was the last time I looked back. Now, cutting them off should have been the end of the story. But people like my family? They don't know when to quit, especially when the cash stops flowing. At first, nothing. No calls, no texts. A few quiet weeks passed after the whole loan shark stunt, and I figured maybe they'd finally gotten the message. Then my phone lit up. Uncle Samuel. I hesitated. Samuel and I weren't close. He lived out of state, and we barely talked unless it was some random holiday. Derek, hey. It's Samuel. Hey, Uncle Samuel. What's going on? Look. I hate to get in the middle of anything, but your mom reached out to me. She says you abandoned the family. I rolled my eyes. Of course she did. Did she also mention I supported them financially for years? She may have skipped that part. Figures. Derek, I'm not trying to take sides here, he said gently. But they're really in a bad spot. The house is about to go. Your dad's not doing well. Chloe's barely holding on. That's not my responsibility anymore, Samuel. He let out a sigh. I get it, kid. I do. But family is still family. I clenched my jaw. Let me ask you something, did she tell you why I cut them off? Or did she just act like I vanished for no reason? There was silence on the other end. Let me save you some time, I continued. I paid off their debts. I covered their mortgage. I bought them a luxury car. You know what I got in return? What? They laughed at me. Mocked me behind my back. Called me a fool. Said the only reason they tolerated me was because I paid for everything. More silence. Then he cleared his throat. Yeah, she definitely left that part out. Exactly. So no, I'm not sending another cent. He paused. Fair enough, kid. I won't call again. Click. And just like that, they started losing their allies. Then came the fallout. 2 months slipped by. The house? Gone, foreclosed. The fancy car? Repossessed. Chloe's little business? Sinking fast. The consequences had finally come knocking. And just when I thought they couldn't stoop any lower, they found a new low. I got an email with the subject line, "Are you really going to do this to your own mother?" At first, I hovered over the delete button. But curiosity got the better of me. I opened it and my stomach turned. It was a GoFundMe link. Title, Desperate Mother on the Verge of Homelessness After Heartless Son Betrays Family. I read every word, jaw clenched. After years of sacrifice and love, our devoted mother has been abandoned by the child she trusted most. A successful attorney, her own son, cut her off and left her with nothing. She's on the brink of losing her home. Please help. Attached were family photos from years ago. Pictures of me smiling, arms around mom, playing the role of loving son, photos they were now using to manipulate strangers into coughing up money. At the bottom, $12,450 raised out of a $50,000 goal. I felt my hands curl into fists. They weren't just dragging my name anymore. They were profiting off it. Scamming total strangers. And worst of all, it was working. Time to end it. I could have ignored it. Could have let them spin their lies in peace. But they crossed the line when they used my full name. That made it personal. That made it defamation. I forwarded the link to a buddy of mine in cybersecurity and asked him to trace it. A few hours later, he hit me back. It's coming from Chloe's laptop. I actually smiled. Perfect. Then I made a call. Hey Victor, I said. You still handle defamation cases? Always, he said. Who's the target? My own family. I sent him everything, the GoFundMe page, screenshots, donation records, even proof that close to 10 grand had already been pulled from the account. Oh wow, Victor said. And let me guess, it wasn't going to mom? Nope. Chloe's been cashing it out. He gave a low whistle. Man, that's low even for family. They wanted to start something, I said. Now I'm just finishing it. You want me to start with a cease and desist? Or go straight for the jugular? I didn't hesitate. No mercy. The final collapse. Within 48 hours, the fundraiser was dead. Taken offline. The money? Frozen solid. And, like clockwork, Chloe called, absolutely losing it. Screaming into the phone like I was the villain in all of this.